Vasistha has been describing cosmic dissolution. He's been describing it firsthand, which might seem a bit strange because everything gets destroyed in the cosmic dissolution. And yet there's Vasistha watching it all from a great distance. It's not so strange though, because this universe existed inside a rock. The Creator and all the subsequent factors of creation existed within that rock on a mountainside. And this universe is coming to an end. So Vasistha has been describing it. At the end of the dissolution, Rudra the dancer appeared, and in his shadow was Kali, the terrifying goddess Kali, or Kalaratri, the night of death. She did her dance, the dance of creation and dissolution. Vasistha continued. The cosmic form that I described to you as Lord Shiva was pure consciousness. That itself was Rudra the dancer. There was no such form, nor was there formlessness. In the massive consciousness, all this was felt to have been experienced. I saw only that space, or plane, which was supreme peace, and I experienced it in the form which I described. No one else saw it that way. So this is an important point. All this is going on in Vasistha's consciousness, just as all this is going on in your consciousness. What was described as the end of a world cycle, as Rudra and as Bhairavi, that's Kali, all that was but an illusory appearance. They were experienced in those forms only by me. The mass of consciousness alone exists. This is quite a good expression, mass of consciousness. It seems a little bit incongruous. We've got consciousness and a mass of consciousness. We tend to think of mass as something weighty, as something solid, something that's got inertia. But this is consciousness. This too is consciousness. Consciousness is not something light and airy-fairy. Consciousness is what presents solidity to us. Solidity exists in consciousness. And one of the things we need to get used to is that apparent contrast, and not see it as a body-mind split. Mass is also notional. So there is only the mass of consciousness which exists. When it is perceived as a certain form, it is seen in that form, and it seems to assume such a form. The comprehension of a word and its meaning, which is usually an object, is not possible without consciousness. It's consciousness which repeats certain notions, which makes associations. We associate a word with something, that thing becomes the word. This is the cognitive process, this is cognition. We attach a word to a certain shape, certain colour and form, and then it becomes an object. It becomes an object. And through repeated association of that word with a particular colour and form, that name and form becomes an object, a discrete, independent object, although it's no such thing. It is because of persistent use of such comprehension that you begin to feel that the object denoted by the expression is absolutely real. There was neither a Bhairavi nor a Bhairava, that's Kalaratri and Rudra, nor even the cosmic dissolution. All these were illusory appearances. Now, most of us don't have images of Rudra and Kalaratri, but it depends on the context. You might have other images. If you're a Hindu yogi, then these images might very well be part of your psychic makeup, and they'll come quite naturally to you. If you belong to some other culture or subculture, perhaps you think in terms of Jesus Christ or aliens, and these can be quite real for you. But all these are illusory appearances. The only reality is the infinite consciousness, and that is the consciousness in which all these happen, all these beliefs and notions happen. Thus I have described to you the significance of the form and the formlessness of a Rudra. I shall now explain to you the significance of the dance. But before we look at that, let's consider what's just been going on. We've got spiritual practice going on. A certain form is presented to us. It's apparently real, but we realize it's something that's happening in consciousness. And this reality, which seemed to be going on, was quite terrifying. It was very terrifying. We had the dance of Kali, dance of creation and dissolution. This is the dance of spiritual practice. You realize that that reality is something going on inside you. And what's going on inside you is usually some feelings. Some feelings. And these feelings are setting the tone of your being at this particular moment. These feelings are shaping your whole outlook on reality at this particular moment. We give form to these feelings, and we repeatedly give the same form to these feelings, and that becomes our reality. I mentioned I was having trouble with my plumbing. There's some very deep plumbing going on here. The plumber came round yesterday when I was recording this video, actually, which is possibly quite significant, and started ripping up the carpets and the floorboards. I was quite distressed at this. It's something that had to be done because the blockage is very deep down, but I seem to be quite shaken up by it for the rest of the day. The blockage still isn't sorted because there's a cafe downstairs, and I suspect my plumbing goes into theirs because there's no obvious outlet for my pipes. So it's going to be an ongoing thing, this. It's going to be an ongoing challenge as the deep plumbing gets dismantled. And other factors come into it which I've got no control over, namely the people in the cafe downstairs. So the point here is the relationship or the connection between feelings and what is apparently going on. The reality is the feelings and the expression and the way we express these feelings in terms of the reality we construct around them. And that's something which gets habitually reinforced. We can look at these feelings and ask, well, can we not put a different reality onto these feelings? One of joy even, because there isn't necessarily anything bad in the feeling itself. We've got used to understanding it as an uncomfortable feeling and presenting it in terms of our own personal melodrama.